guys, it's Kayla.
And I'm Mark Allen.
And this is our channel. Here we talk about all things Disney as well as how to plan your Walt Disney World vacation.
Yes, so if that interests you, please consider subscribing and stay tuned.
Okay guys, so today we are gonna mix things up a little bit. We're gonna talk about something that's not totally Disney. However, it does actually pertain to why we take the Disney trips that we do. So today we're gonna talk about our debt-free journey.
So just a little background and a little bit of a preface. We are not officially debt-free yet. However, we have paid off a ton of debt, which we'll share a little bit about. So we are very, very close to becoming debt-free.
So just to kind of give you a little bit of reference point of where we started. We both went to private Christian college, which if you've gone or you know, private college is very, very expensive. So of course that created a lot of student loan debt for each of us. On top of that, you had some credit cards for just various, like a lot of them I think were like if you sign up for this credit card you get 15% off for
and
blah, blah, blah.
The fact that I was a broke college student.
That too. And then the other big one was it was on a credit card, but it was the basically the loan that we did for my wedding ring, which that
I was stupid and young and in love.
Oh my gosh, but the interest rate on that one was very high.
Yeah.
So what was originally a reasonably priced ring became a very expensive ring very quickly. And then finally we had our, probably I would say about a year-ish after we were married, we bought a car for me and we financed pretty much that whole thing except for maybe like $1,000 or so.
Yeah, $1,500 that we got for the trade-in is basically we financed the rest.
So all of that together, as you can imagine, equals quite a lot of debt. I know it's not probably as much as some people that you've heard, but it was a lot for us in our mind. It was too much, and we really wanted to make a change.
Yep. I think we got to that point where we were just like, you know, we've had it, and we were just tired of throwing away money every single month and just not being able to do the things that we wanted to do with our finances. And going to Disney was one of those things that we really wanted to do. In fact, we wanted to do Disney for our honeymoon, and we couldn't because we just had so much crippling debt.
But it wasn't even just the debt, it was the fact that neither of us really knew how to handle finances well. Mark Allen had been on his own for a little bit, and so he was kind of doing stuff, but he was
not well.
A single guy in a very cheap apartment, and so it wasn't really a concern for him. And then for me, I just never really cared enough to actually learn like how to pay bills or how to really do anything, honestly. And so I remember in our premarital counseling, they make you like take all these quizzes for like personality stuff and fears and all this whatever. And our number one stressing point was finances. It was one of those things where we both had a lot of anxiety about it going into our marriage. And so that it created some issues when we were first married. And it caused a lot of fighting, and that's not really something that you want to be going through when you're first married. I mean, you're supposed to be enjoying things, but it was one of those, it was just a constant battle of fighting about money because I was anxious about it and he was getting frustrated with me because I was getting anxious, and it was just this whole round and round thing.
So I don't even really remember officially where I first heard of Dave Ramsey or really even how I first learned about Financial Peace University. But in 2017, so a little like 2.5 years ago, from the time of filming this video anyway, we got Financial Peace University for my birthday. I had asked Kayla's parents for it for my birthday, and of course, like loving in-laws, they got it for me. And I was really the one that wanted to do it. Kayla didn't.
It was one of those things, I don't think I really understood what it was. Like, I think I had heard the term Dave Ramsey, but I was like, I have no idea what that means.
Yeah.
So for those of you that don't know who Dave Ramsey is, he's basically the big, like, get out of debt, everyday millionaire, like, kind of mentality. So he does a lot of teaching on how to get out of debt, how to save your money, how to do finances, and he does it in a, like, basically from a Christian perspective, like, how does the Bible say to handle finances?
Yeah.
Which, if you're not a Christian, that's okay. A lot of these principles work really perfectly.
Totally.
Whether you're a Christian or not, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
And so I think that's one thing that I do think has been really cool about the program.
Yes.
But I'll let you continue with what you were saying.
Yeah, so anyway, so we got the Financial Peace University kit and everything. We went through it, and each lesson has basically a 1-minute takeaway at the end of it. There's 9 lessons, and I just remember, like, feeling like I needed to write a novel at the end of each week that we watched. We didn't attend a class or anything like that. We just watched the videos at home, just the two of us. And I think that's what really, really helped our marriage just really start out on a better foot. And so really going through all 9 of those lessons was really how we learned how to handle our finances and pay off all of the debt that we have already paid off. And really, I mean, honestly, how we've paid cash for all of the Disney trips that we've gone on and will continue to go on.
So I remember when we first started it, again, like I said, I didn't really understand what it was, and I just didn't care. Like, it just wasn't something that I was like, I wasn't into it, basically. And so we started watching the first lesson, and I was like, okay, that was a lot to swallow. And then in the second lesson, I think is when they actually talk about how to do a budget. He recommends, so there's an app called Every Dollar that you can download, and oh my word, you guys, this app is like life-changing.
Yeah, we'll put a link to it down below.
Yeah, anytime anybody asks me about, like, finances, that's the first thing I tell them to do is download that app, and they need to start using it. But I noticed immediately when we sat down and we did the budget together and we talked about it. And of course, when you start, you have no idea how much you spend on things, like, because we weren't keeping track of stuff. We were just spending as we had money. We had however much in the bank, so sure, we had money. Yeah, that's not a real thing, you guys. Not a real thing. And we're gonna dive a little bit deeper into some of these topics. I'm gonna do kind of another little mini series, so we'll talk a little bit more about some of that in later videos. But yeah, so we did that budget, and I was like, okay, cool. And then we realized we spent $1,000 on eating out in a
Literally.
month. For 2 people. Like, just us. That's it. We spent $1,000.
Yeah.
To me, in Kansas, where we live and with prices and things, that's stupid. Like, that's way too much money to spend.
Well, it's really stupid anywhere.
Yes. But. And so, it was just, that was so, like, that was so eye-opening to me. Like, I was just amazed at, I was like, seriously? Like, we have to get this under control. Yeah. And so then we move on to the next lesson where they talk about the debt snowball, and this is kind of a really scary, very daunting thing for people, because you have to take every single penny of debt that you have, except for your mortgage, because that's kind of a different thing. But every single thing you have, your car, your credit cards, your loans, anything that you have, and you have to write it all out, and you have to add it up and see how much debt you are actually in. And oh my word, you guys, that number is terrifying.
It's scary.
It's so scary.
You really see reality face to face. And for a lot of people that can be very extremely overwhelming, because you know, credit cards can really have this domino or snowball-like effect, and you don't even realize how bad it gets before you're in to your eyeballs, and
you don't know what to do.
Yeah.
You're in crisis mode at that point. And that was another just really eye-opening thing for me. And I think at that point was when I really started getting into it, and I was like, okay, let's do this.
Yeah.
Like, we need to do this. And so Dave calls it the snowball, like you're snowballing it. So you basically write everything out, your smallest to largest, your smallest debt to your largest debt. And the idea is that you pay off the smallest debt first. Doesn't matter what your interest is.
Yep.
But you just pay off that smallest debt first. And then the payment that you were putting towards that smallest debt, now you're doing that plus your minimum payment on the next smallest one. And then once you've paid that off, you do the money that you're paying on the first one, the minimum payment from the second one, and you're paying all of that with the minimum payment of the third one, and basically so on and so forth until you've gone through everything. And the idea of it is that you have smaller victories so that when you are getting to the end, when you're having those larger sums, you have larger amounts of money to actually be able to put towards that, so it's going to start basically snowballing and going faster and faster.
Yeah, and essentially like what Kayla was saying is that when you pay off one chunk of debt and don't have that payment anymore, that's money that it frees up in your budget that allows you to put towards those next debts in the sequence of the snowball.
Yeah. So we want to be really transparent with you guys, and I want to make this real for you too, so that you can see like where we are. That, I mean, we are real people. These numbers are it's normal. I mean, it's normal, but you don't want it to be normal.
Yeah.
But so this was kind of what our snowball was when we originally started. I'm gonna look down because we have our numbers here. Okay, so when we started out, Mark Allen's student loans were just under $29,000. My student loans at that point, and I had luckily paid off quite a bit. I think mine originally were $21,000, but I was living at my parents' house, so I wasn't paying rent, so I was just like paying stuff off.
Yeah, these were basically the numbers when we started Financial Peace University.
Right. So at that point, my student loans were down to about $9,500. The car was just over $19,000, and our credit cards were just under $3,000. So altogether, everything that we had when we started Financial Peace. So this wasn't even like our debt that we had already paid off. This was just when we actually started Financial Peace, was $65,023.10. That's a big number. And I mean, like, it's one of those things when you hear stuff like there's people that have more than that, there's people that have less than that, but in my mind I'm like, this is ridiculous. Why? How did we get into this? Like, how did we get into this? Like, that, it was just crazy to me. And so when you see that number, it was just like, we have to get rid of this. Like,
yeah, it was really our turning point.
Yeah. And so he also talks about something called Gazelle Intensity, where you're putting forth everything. You are fighting to survive. You are being chased by that cheetah, and you got to get out of there as fast as you can. And so we were doing everything that we could. We were selling everything. We were finding any way that we could to just make a few extra bucks. And we literally would do our budget, and we're like, okay, this is what we have to pay for. What's left? Okay, literally, let's just empty our bank account and just put it on our debt. And we did that for quite a while. And I will say we've kind of tapered off a little bit, which, do as we say, don't do as we do. Yeah. And so that's why we've been going on our trips and things. But even in the midst of paying on all of that, we've still been able to save and go on our vacations without debt because of the discipline and principles that we've been learning.
So you're probably wondering how much debt we've paid off. Well, here's our number. So To this day, we have paid off almost just shy of $40,000 in debt. So it took us probably about 2 years to pay that off.
About 2 years.
And yeah, like Kayla said, you know, we'll be honest, we have kind of gone off track a little bit, and we are working to get back on track. We kind of fell off the bandwagon a little bit. I had some job change that kind of threw things off a little bit, and you know, we have gone on vacation a lot, which is not what Dave Ramsey would recommend. Just prefacing that, but
yeah, you go on vacation after you pay off your debt.
Yeah,
we broke the rule.
We did. Sorry,
Hashtag
Dave.
Worth it.
Yes. So the other thing is, you know, we're not sponsored. You know, we're just making this video on our own. You know, we're not sponsored by Dave Ramsey or Financial Peace University or any of his affiliates or anything like that. And
this is just something that it has changed our lives,
yes,
like so drastically. Like I said earlier in the video, finances was our greatest fear and weak point in our marriage, and now finances is our strongest point. Like, that is something that we are rock solid on, and anybody that knows us like personally knows, like, oh no, they got their stuff together.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're not perfect. We're not.
Yeah.
Everybody makes mistakes. We're human. We still go over budget on eating. We don't go over budget as much as we used to.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just one of those things. But this really is something that we are very passionate about, and I know that I've had a few of you guys reach out to me wanting to know more, and that's really why I wanted to share this video.
I think the other thing too is because we have paid cash for every single one of our Disney trips, and we've been on currently 2. We're about getting ready to take our 3rd one. Also, again, sorry, Dave Ramsey. But I think it's just allowed us to enjoy our vacations that much more, because we don't have to come home to a giant credit card bill. You know, we're very conscious about our budget on our trips. Literally at the end of each day, I sit down, I take out all the receipts throughout the day, I plug those into our budget and go, okay, we need to be careful in this category or this category, and we can't spend any more here, or we have a lot more. We can, you know, if we want to have a nice meal one night while we're at Disney, we can do that if there's a reservation. But it's just allowed us to enjoy our vacations that much more, because we know that we don't have to come back to a giant credit card bill at the end of our trip. It doesn't follow us home.
And something too, speaking of not having to use credit cards, in our classes, one of our favorite things that we do is cutting up credit cards. And it's very funny because everybody reacts so differently. But we've taught three financial peace courses, and in those 3 classes, how many credit cards would you say that we've cut up?
Oh, probably upwards of 50.
Probably, yeah. And so what we love to do, so we actually have this jar that we don't make people do this if they don't want to, but if they want to,
Yeah, we're not like, give me your credit card.
No, but if they want to, we tell them, hey, you can add your cut up credit card to our jar as kind of like just a testimony to other people. So this is our jar. Sorry, there's like a really bad glare. But yeah, so these are all real credit cards from people that have been in our classes. Even, I feel like there's even some in here from people that haven't been in our class that have just gone through the course.
And some of our old ones too.
And some of ours too. And it's just, I love looking at this as a reminder of this is where we were and we're never going back again.
Yeah.
And so I hope that this video was inspiring for you guys. Like I said, if you have questions or comments for us, please feel free to leave those down below. If you enjoyed this video, consider giving us a big thumbs up. We always appreciate that. And also consider subscribing if you want to hear a little bit more about our story, or if you want to watch our fun Disney content, that's fine too. That's mainly what we do on this channel. But other than that, I think that's all we got for you guys today. So we will see you next time. Bye guys.
Bye.